Been getting a lot of questions recently on Zoom Workspace reservation. So I wanted to just jump into an overview of what is it, how do I use it, what's the value of it, just a quick demo of front end, back ends. What is Zoom Workspace reservation? So you can see up on my digital sign right here, which is running right off of a Zoom room. Ultimately, it's a way to reserve desks and spaces inside of your office space. If you're hybrid, obviously this is great for hot desking. We have check-in functionality, but if you're not, you can also just use it to get active usership metrics, sizing services, etc. Dedicated desks and all of that are just as easily done inside of Workspace reservation. We see a lot of folks doing that as well. Outside of traditional workspace desk reservations and room reservations, I have a parking lot that's being used right here. So lots of interesting ways that we're seeing folks use this, and I'll just go right through a demo today of where it is, what it is, and how to use it. So without further ado, Workspace reservation lives in your existing Zoom account. So if I share screen here, we'll just go ahead and show my desktop. If I go right over here to the apps screen, you can see that Workspace reservation is living right here for me. And the most likely place that users are going to book from is probably going to be the place that they already are. So on their Zoom desktop app here or their mobile app. These are built in. You can find this same Workspace reservation that I'm opening up for you right here on the desktop app or on your mobile app. And I'll show you both in just a second. So this is essentially a parking lot view. So if I'm thinking about coming into work today and this is my parking lot, I can see it's not very busy, lots open here. And I can see that today is Sunday. I'm able to book till 6 p.m. If I wanted to book for the week tomorrow, I can book 181 days out individually. This is set from current time to 6 p.m. So that's when our working hours are in our office. You can set that on the back end as to where and how long you want things to be booked for. I have multiple floors here. So this happens to be the parking lot. But if I wanted to jump in and just look at desks or rooms that are available, all that is right there. But let's start right at the parking lot and go through some of the booking flow there. Some of the things I can look for in the parking lot, I have some filters with assets. So my options are general parking, executive space, or EV charging. So let's say I have an EV. Okay, those three spots are enabled for me. So today I'm going to go ahead and bring my EV in. So I'll take space 5 right there. There's the reserve date. It's today. And I have that until 6 p.m. because that's what's set. But let's say I'm going to be in a little bit later than 6 p.m. Go ahead and take that till 10. That's fine. And I probably actually won't even get there till 3 if I'm leaving my house today. So I can reserve that there. Boom. And then there's me right down there. Very cool. But let's say I'm looking for another user. You can see this guy down here, general user. Let's say that's my buddy. I like to, kind of see what he's doing. So I can always come right up here, kind of search for general user. And it looks like he has 3 things booked today. But right now I care about where is he parking. So he's parking right down there. Cool. Got my parking booked. I'm good to go. What about, the office space itself? I have a meeting coming up. I want to connect with some clients inside the office. This is our front entrance. So I want to go get this room booked up for myself. That's what the room looks like. This looks like it's going to accommodate my needs. I only have 2 other people and myself. That seems comfortable in this space. It's a capacity of 6. That'll work. That's where the location is. Looks like it has a Yealink A20 in there. Cool. Let's do that. I don't have an existing Zoom meeting, so we'll just do a new meeting. We'll call it, by default, it'll say my name, Ham, the admin Zoom meeting. Otherwise, I can say sync on quarterly partnership goals. Awesome. Need to have a passcode, so we'll just go ahead and type one in there. There we go. Now I have that reserved successfully. In the meantime, when I'm coming in, I think I want this little corner office here. So we'll go ahead and do that. And I will reserve that till 6 p.m. There I am. Now, one of the things I don't have set here is that I can do booking questions. Our team internally does that. Our team will serve us with questions like health screening. Have you experienced any COVID symptoms? I'll say no, and we can collect that data as well. I don't have any of that turned on today, but really easy, and I'll show you how to set that up on the back end. Also, things that you may ask is, do you require lunch? If you serve lunch in your office, or other things, so we can size services appropriately for our Workspace team. So that's why Workspace teams love this product so far. Let's jump into how to do the same thing on the phone, and I'll show you that next. Okay, so I've got my phone, and rather than show you here, I'm going to go ahead and share screens. Here I am at my home screen. It's going to be very similar to the experience on desktop. So I'm going to click on the lower right, the more buttons. And now I'm going to look for Workspace Reservation right under the top. And in the same way that we saw before, it's redundant, responsive, got it all right here where the phone is. Can do the same exact things, same book and flow. It's just a responsive design here. So can also flip right into first floor here, take a look at what's available and who's in office. Kind of the same exact way that we did before, slightly different user layout. If I want to search for a user up top, can try to find Ham inside the office. Where is Ham the admin? He's over there, right at that desk. Okay, perfect. So front end experience, this is kind of what you're going to get. There is one more place redundantly that you can find all of these exact same booking features, which is going to be inside your Zoom portal. So zoom.us/profile, you will have it there as well. The reason I start with the phone and the desktop is obviously that we believe for barrier of entry, this is where the majority of folks are probably going to book from, as they're always going to have their phone with them. Now, that doesn't preclude them from booking with a kiosk like we have over here. And we also think that's a great way to reinforce that this is something that's happening inside your office and workspace. I love putting these at ingress points. That way, when I'm walking into the office, even though I have my phone with me and I'm probably going to book there, even if I see that thing, the fact that I can see faces and places and what's available for me at a glance, it reminds me that, oh yes, that's right, we're using Workspace Reservation. It's on my phone, we can do that. Or if I'm walking around office, grabbing a coffee, left my phone at the desk, it's one more touch point where I can very easily book a desk and use that as an option. And now that we've done some of the front end stuff, let's jump into the back end and kind of see when I'm inside that Zoom portal. So let's just kind of jump into the back end here. You may be familiar with this when you're inside of your Zoom account at your browser, zoom.us/profile, and that'll take you right up to the top to your profile. This is the personal side or user side of your Zoom account. I have Workspace Reservation right here. It looks exactly the same as the Workspace Reservation on my phone or on my desktop app. But if you were a Workspace admin, we're going to want to come down to the admin section. And this is where Workspace management lives. So if you already have some Zoom rooms, you may be familiar with the room management and Zoom rooms here, calendar integration and all that good stuff. We're using the same location data here, the same workspace hierarchy. There's my account, there's the countries I'm operating in, and I can throw workspaces down on each of these respective buildings, cities, and set policy at each respective levels. What does that mean? That means that if I'm in my top level, my organization level, I go to account settings and I can run through what I want to be served inside of Workspace Reservation. Smart suggestions, this is a little bit of AI, compress a robot guy, and he'll show you based on where you've already worked. Clicking that button will allow you to book that quickly. So let's see, now that I've turned that on, here we go. Here's our robot guy, need help finding a desk. Let's suggest a desk. What desk should I use? So suggest a desk right next to general user. But let's jump back to Workspace Management and workspaces. The important thing is when I set something at the account level inside of this location hierarchy, and if you don't have this, and you just have one building, you don't have to worry about this. If you do have multiple spaces, multiple countries, multiple floors and buildings, you can set policy for workspace at each respective level this way, and it makes it really, really fast to configure from a top-down approach. So account settings, told you I'd show you a reservation questionnaire earlier. I don't have that turned on. If I do want to enable a reservation questionnaire at the time of booking, what I can say is, do you require lunch today? And you can say yes or no. You can make it a required question. We have options here. We make it multiple choice, short answer. So why don't we go ahead and say, if yes, what would you prefer to eat? This one is a multiple choice. I'll say sandwich bar. We'll go mac and cheese, soup and salad. We'll have those options for ourselves. We'll make that a required question. I'll show you what this looks like. We also have pre-check-in questionnaire to pre-check-in. It's very similar. Have you had any symptoms? COVID, like in the last 24 hours? Yes. If yes, please stay home. And no. And those will be our options, and we'll require that. and we'll continue there. So once we have some data on this, we can view the data inside of our dashboard. When I pull this open, we're not going to have any because we don't have any questions, but right here I can export the data that's pulled from there for your Workspace team. But back here, let's show what this reservation questionnaire looks like now. Go right into Workspace reservation. And this time, if I come over here and I want to book this desk, 6 p.m., cool, looks good, let's reserve it. Now I have this, do you require lunch today? And I'll say yes. And if yes, what would I prefer to eat? I'll do a soup and salad and the sandwich bar, please. Submit and reserve. Boom, there I am. Now we should have some data in our backend that we can start to pull and aggregate. As you can see, I now have 2 desks booked here. So you can set that to be limited as 1 resource up to 5 concurrent reservations. You also can reserve for someone else. So if you noticed, I was able to reserve for myself. I can come right over here into my settings, actually go right into Workspaces and offer other users, let's just say general user, we'll let general user book for me. Now general user, when they come in, can book a workspace on my behalf. So great for EAs, not a limit on number of people, but 5 different resources per person. Why that might be relevant, I'm actually, as we're using parking here, this counts as a resource. So if I do have a parking space that I want to take, and I also want to take a room simultaneously with a desk simultaneously, those would count as concurrent resources. So we want to make sure that we're considering that if we do have things like parking spaces or assets that we want to use on the map here. Let's get back to workspace management here. Gone through kind of location hierarchy. So we've seen at the account level, but we can drill down. And if we were going to go to Pennsylvania, Scranton, and set things at the floor settings themselves, this is where I'm actually going to be able to edit this map and bring workspaces in. So if I have an extra desk, it's drag and drop if I want to drop one right there. It's connected backend. Source of truth is still going to be your Google or Exchange backend. So you do have to build these resources on your backend and then just connect them up via a service account here. So we can find whatever is available that hasn't already been assigned via our service account. It's as easy as that to drag and drop a desk. Let's try doing a room. Go to edit floor map and we'll add a room. We'll just do one right here. Done. We'll resize this right here. Now let's say I wanted to have a really interesting polygonal style room. I can totally drag and drop and create a new one anywhere I want on the map. And that can now be a bookable room. So if you have strange shapes, you can start with either a square, circle, or go into polygonals if you need. Now, as you saw inside here, select your calendar service and find whatever room you want. Testy test resource sounds good. Now you can pre-populate assets, whatever you want to throw in there. And here's where you do your capacity and your workspace photo upload if you wanted to include that. So we can kind of have the same pretty images here as we have in kind of our other rooms. Briefly, we'll go back to workspaces here. So when I go to a floor, right, I'm here at SCR1 first. Here are all the resources I've already dropped. We can bring those in via our calendar integration here. My service account is called SA_Google. You can see all of my resources live here. If I connect new resources on the back end and want to bring them in, I can do all that through Google, and I'll have a accompanying video shortly that shows how to connect front to back. I'll do it in a project-based way, so it's actually practical. This is kind of workspace reservation. I implore you to jump through, talk with your AE if this is something you're interested in and want to look at. Things, again, we can do allowed groups and users per desk, assign certain workspaces or certain floors even to be only bookable by certain people. And we went through a reservation questionnaire, pre-check-in questionnaire, and we'll just roll down this list just so you get a sense of it. Custom reservation times, 181 days in advance, limited to 5 desks per person at a time. Check-in, check-out. We serve QRs at the desk, and either via paper QR on the desk to make sure that someone is in physical geography and checked in. Otherwise, you can also serve those via a Zoom personal device or a phone. We're also able to serve them at Zoom rooms or scheduling only displays at the scheduler and or the Zoom room controller itself. So I think we, with that, touched the overview here. If you want to know more, feel free to jump in and have a conversation with me. I'm ham@zoom.us. Otherwise, get in touch with your AE. If you do go to zoom.us and jump right into plans and pricing, I should note that Workspace Reservation is included in some of our bundle packages like Business Plus and Enterprise Plus. Otherwise, ad hoc, this is going to be in today's pricing, $1.50 a space. So really, really easy when we're talking about enabling a workspace. count the number of spaces you want to enable, $1.50 each, and that's your ongoing monthly pricing on what you're doing. If you have existing Zoom rooms or common area phones, we're not going to charge you for those. Those will already be ready to drag and drop onto your map. That is Workspace Reservation at a glance. Hope that helps a lot of you, and look forward to talking to you soon.